Hey, everybody. Welcome to Habitat Now. I'm your host, Aaron Shea, and I have the honor of being joined by artist Christina Bothwell, who is doing our second ever ground floor presentation. She has taken the time to create 19 elaborate drawings that she is willing to take on as commissions should there be clients interested from around the world. And many of you know Christina's work. She's heavily influenced by her family, her time, her space, her home. And she's been working for many decades, a very long time, creating many sculptures you've seen throughout the gallery and probably at different art shows across the world. So I know she's sending artwork to Europe soon. She's traveling to Europe, which is going to be amazing to be part of a show out there. So I'm honored for you to take the time quickly before you leave town and join us today. So the first ground floor we did in 2019 with artist Leah Wingfield. She created a few drawings of her Tango series that were end up being sold via commission from the drawings alone. We sold there was 6 drawings and we sold 7 of them because someone wanted a piece that was similar to a piece she made in the past that she didn't do a drawing of. And of course she came around, which was great. So I'm going to give you a little background. I'll invite Christina to say hello. While she does it, I'll get the video going and start this presentation. So say hi, Christina.
Hi. Not that many decades.
I was thinking that was like, what?
Many decades.
Not that many, but
So let me share my screen and we will watch a little presentation, 7 minutes of this, of Christina's Storytellers episode, giving some background and grounding to her work. So let me make sure my sound is on because it makes me wait to do this, and I'll play it now.
birth and death, who are we and why are we here? Those are the questions that have always plagued me. I'm always interested in new ways to portray that. I am a storyteller and I love stories. If something really touches me, I have to process it and get it out by doing a piece. I try to express the spirit world in my work. I believe that we're much more than our physical bodies. I'm an artist that works with glass, but I'm self-taught. And my pieces, they're not pristine. Most glass artists make work that looks like it's descended right from heaven. And my pieces are like outsider art. You can kind of see the fingerprints and the mistakes and, but I feel like that's my energy in there, and it's part of what makes my work me. Sometimes the whole piece can break apart when I take the heads off. The clay face on this piece has already been fired. Clay is not compatible with glass. A lot of people think I somehow have found a magical way to fire them together, but no. I make the heads first, and then I build my piece with warmed beeswax. Everything in wax is going to be cast glass. I made this piece because no matter how old they are, you always worry about your children. So you're always kind of carrying their weight with you, even though my children are kind of grown now. I don't think I'm ever going to stop. Oops. See, there goes an ear, which will have to be glued on later. I have a lot of children in my pieces. I think that they represent vulnerability. When I had my actual children, they were so entertaining that they were a source of ideas. And I'm still processing, even though it's 13 years later for the twins, 17 for Sophie. I think I'm still processing the fact that I'm somebody's mother. Wow. I had been working with ceramics. I started feeling like I just had worked myself into a corner with what I was doing. So I kind of went into a creative crisis. I took a glass casting class, and I knew nothing about glass except that I didn't like it because it was so shiny. Within about an hour of taking that workshop, I realized that glass can do everything that clay can, but it transmits light. It had so much potential. Ideas are like dreams. It's almost like there's energy in the piece and we're absorbing it. Hey, Ellis, put an apron on?
Yes.
Your hands are good?
I think so.
Put that over your head. I'll take what I had sculpted and waxed up to my studio. I'll make a mold from a mixture of casting plaster, silica powder, and talc. I'll pat it all over the wax. I'll end up with a mold with a flat bottom, which is rested on a Vaseline-covered surface. Once that's set, I'll flip it over and it will have an opening where I can steam the wax out. The lost wax process used in jewelry is very similar. Once the wax is out, I'll have a mold with a concavity of the figure, like a ghostly presence, you know, the shape of what I had sculpted in wax. Hey, would you do me a favor and put some of those little molds in water so when I demold, they won't break?
Yeah.
Robert and I met at summer camp when we were 14, and then we reunited in New York City 15 years later. Very Harry met Sally, kind of. We have done a number of pieces together. He understands the annealing schedule. He's also really good at providing a separate perspective.
I was doing children's books, but meanwhile, I was helping Christina with her work. We can't help but be influenced by each other, and we definitely support each other tremendously.
I work with cold glass. We break the glass up with a hammer, and then we fill the molds with chunks of glass, and then we'll put it in the kiln. The glass will melt, and as it goes lower and sinks into the mold, we'll have to feed more chunks of glass into the mold until the surface is level. I have a sense of how I want the colors to be, but there's always the element of surprise because the glass flows.
We make sure that the glass is really penetrated into all the crevices and fingers or whatever. And then we drop the kiln quickly down to the annealing temperature. For this particular glass, it's 900 degrees.
The jacket was smoking.
Yeah, you gotta do it fast. The whole annealing process might take 2 days, but for some of the thicker pieces, it'll take maybe 2 to 3 weeks or longer.
Once the annealing's finished, it will be a glass sculpture with the mold around. And then I soak it in water and I take a hammer and a chisel. I break off the plaster. It's very easy to snap off a foot or an arm. And so sometimes the only thing I can do is just refire the whole thing, start all over. The pieces don't come out nice and smooth. They come out with like sharp shards that can cut your hands. So I'll sand the roughness using diamond grit pads. Once I'm finished polishing it, I can glue the ceramic to the glass, and then I add another layer of narrative to the sculptures by painting on them. I'm the happiest when I'm in nature, being in the woods, and that feeling of just being consumed by nature. Birds and insects, they're a metaphor for irrepressible life force. You can't control them or contain them. My work is very much about that feeling of being safe in nature and nurtured. We had lived in New York City for 7 years and came out here to visit a friend, and it was like I just was taken over by nature. Vegetables grew out of the ground, and there were blue herons and bald eagles, and I realized I had to. We found this little place, and it took about 2 years for the midnight panic attacks to subside because we moved out here without work, without friends, and it was just sort of nature. Now it's been over 20 years, and we have a really good system of friends, and it's beautiful. We have 8 cats, 2 dogs, a snake named Lucy, and a mean pet goose.
I'll wrap it up there with the video. I appreciate you enjoying that, which is fun. And all right, Christina, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I can figure out how to do it. There it is. And I'm gonna start sharing your presentation. So that was a lot of fun. Great to see you. Are you there? I hear you.
I am here,
All right,
but
good.
you're going to be sharing it because my computer's not being cooperative. Is that
Right.
okay?
Yep, in a second. All right, let me kick it back into sharing my screen. And all right, you should see it, correct?
So Aaron asked me to show a small collection of some pieces just for people that aren't familiar with my work. And this is a piece I did about a year ago called Double Violets. My daughter Violet is a twin, and sometimes she says, "Can't we just give Ellis back? And can't you just find me another version of me?" So I thought that gave me the idea to do, a piece called Double Violet. So next.
Was Robert just to help with the benches on these? Is that how this
Yes,
works?
sorry about that. Yeah,
No
Robert
problem.
makes the benches for me, so it's a collaboration.
It's very, very fun. I love the way they have the drawing on it.
He also figures out how to, like this one hangs on the wall, so he's really much better at that. When I used to put my own hanging things on the wall, I'd be at sofa and like the pieces would just fall off the wall and crash on the ground. So it's much better to have.
Thank the Lord for Robert.
Right. This kind of ring around the rosy, which I did during the first year of the pandemic, really. So
Very beautiful.
that's pretty big. Well, for me, this is called Conversation, and inspired just watching my daughters with their friends. Robert made the bench.
And then your hand painted
Right.
on the legs of each piece. And
Because it just makes it a little, less relentless, just to have a few different kind of things going on.
very cool. And then I've seen like squirrels and birds and other objects. Have you ever done insects too? You probably have, right?
Oh yeah.
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 You're motivated.
I love insects except when they're biting me and giving me Lyme disease.
Oh God.
So this is an old piece, and it's not too big, but this is basically when I was obsessed with getting pregnant. And so, but also I was, I became very aware of the humanity that animals have, that fish have, and it's probably right around the time when I stopped eating animals. I just realized that they're no different than me, that every animal has its own sense of meanness, same as me. So how could I take somebody's life and eat them?
It's true. It
was a hard transition. I used to
believe
drive by ducks in a pond and my mouth would start watering. So it took a while to, but anyway, so this is called Ghost Girl. I did this a couple years ago. I was invited to be in a show by Beautiful Bizarre magazine. And the theme of the show was Midnight Garden. And so it's called Ghost Girl.
Got a question from the audience already of asking you what kind of paint do you use on your sculptures?
Oh, I just use oil paints. Sometimes Winsor Newton, sometimes, whatever I can get my hands on, because I live in such a rural area. There's not very much in the way of art supply stores. Sometimes there's a Michael's and they'll just have, but like Rembrandt or Winsor Newton.
How big is this monkey in this photo?
Maybe it's not that big, maybe about 15 inches.
Very fun.
This is a kind of an old piece. This back when I would go to auctions around here and find old broken down pieces of toys and kind of incorporate them. So, I built this piece around, it's called Chariot, around the wheeled thing that's on the bottom and around the little doll hands that the figure has. I just liked kind of how gritty it was, kind of gritty, the grittiness with the clay, with the glass.
Yeah, I remember seeing works like this, pieces of chairs and other wagons, other things that were very fun incorporated into your older work.
Yeah, This is just this is a little tiny piece. I like it because it's like a bar of soap. It's for an upcoming show at a Torrey Fullard Gallery. The theme is of nature. So I made a couple little pieces of like wild animals, like that's a deer on the bed, with the girl. I don't usually do too many pieces that are just straight glass, but yeah.
And this one's finished as is, no painting, just
no painting. It's like a bar of soap, kind of. That's what I like about it.
Kind of reminds me of the artist that we showed at the International, makes the small works. Can't think of her name, of course it escapes me, but very, very, very fun. The octopus.
I started doing, first of all, I heard this show on NPR, All Things Considered, about octopus, and I did not know that they get jealous, and when they get jealous, they turn white, and when they can wrestle a little dried shrimp out of a baby food jar, they turn red with excitement. And that was right around the time when I also stopped eating meat, or I realized I could never eat octopus again after that. But I also identify with octopuses because I wish I had 8 arms. It often seems that I'm so busy taking care of so many people and animals that, I like to try to channel my inner octopus girl. So this is a new piece that's in the international now, I guess, or is the international still going on?
Yep. It's,
Okay,
it's
yes,
good to
there we
have
go.
that kind of explanation. It makes a little sense. As a dad, I think I need more arms too, and more time.
Right, right, definitely more time,
More
more
time.
sleeping. So Aaron, you asked me to, for some of the pieces that I've done, you asked me to show like the direct inspiration. And sometimes I just like to troll through Instagram and look at photographs. And I really was taken with this photograph and I thought this would be such a cool piece. So I think the next image is of the piece that, yeah. So from that photograph, I made this piece.
Very fun.
And this is the piece that in that little film clip I was working on in wax.
Is this one all glass, or is there?
No, the heads are clay. And
Oh,
there's
heads
some
are clay.
painting on the other side, on the back side. There's a lot of painting. Just because this was like, I think because I had my training as a painter, I still think in terms of looking at something from one view. And then, you know, so sometimes when I can put painting or more detail on the back, it kind of makes the whole piece more thoughtful rather than just the one angle. Like, kind of like sometimes I feel like my pieces, I'm asking the viewer to look at them like a painting. No, that's not its good angle. Just look at it from this angle. So sometimes the painting, you know, makes me put more energy and time into all the different views of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Because the first piece I saw of yours that really knocked my socks off was at a client's home here in Michigan. And they had it in their bedroom. And it was facing in the room, but you were really drawn to walk around the whole piece because of the paintings. You're able to just take a couple steps and actually experience more at every step.
Nice. Okay. So this is a, like, well, it says X-ray of the Egyptian cat sarcophagus with cat mummy inside. I love when you look at something, but then there's so much more to what you're seeing than what's just on the surface. And it's like when I saw this photograph, I started thinking more about how it would be really neat to make sculptures where you can show what is below the surface, or try to show, you know, the nonlinear a little bit. So this piece is called Evolution as a State of Mind, but it's that whole idea that we're so much more than what we present to the world. Like our physical self represents one aspect of who we are.
And in this photo, we're looking at is there a human female inside?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's got really great clawball feet. You know, those table legs.
Yep. Fun.
It's like furniture taxidermy. So I made the piece on the right, and then my friend Tim Tate posted this on Facebook. This was the inspiration for the piece. I love that painting. But anyway, there's a better picture of my piece in the next shot if you want to see it. So
there we go.
it's just blue chair. There's a lot of painting on that.
Is that animal behind connected, or is it a separate?
Well, it could be. It could
No.
be.
Very neat.
I think originally I thought of it as being connected, and then this piece, the blue chair is in France and the deer's still in my studio. So I guess it's not connected anymore, but it looks good in the photo, right?
It does. It's very, it's very like, yeah, an impressive presentation. I like the way you mixed them together, yet they're not connected.
It's
The
a different
color's
feeling
great.
than Balthus's painting, because mine's not like sexual at all, like nothing like that.
Right.
It's not about
My children are raising butterflies right now from caterpillars. So this would fit right into that whole story, because you have all these beautiful butterflies painted all over it.
I have this, I'm friends with the painter Irene Hardwick Olivieri. And when I first met her, I went to her house and I didn't know that she'd been raising moths, and she had 10 huge moths all over her arms and legs and chest. And I was like, what? I mean, they were alive. I still want to do a piece about that sometime.
On her physical person, just hanging
On
out.
her physical person, they had just all hatched, and they were she'd gone to feed them or something. I don't know.
That's funny.
No. So I love Alice in Wonderland. Sometime it would be cool to do a whole show just based on John Tenniel's illustrations from Alice in Wonderland. But this one's one of my favorites. And so the next piece is the piece that I did, as it's called Strawberry Fields. During hunting season, I get I get a lot of maternal feelings toward the deer, and literally all my neighbors are serial killers for deer. And I have my favorites, and I just wish that I could keep them all safe. So, and so that's my daughter, Sophie. I guess she was taking a nap for some reason on that bench, and I thought, oh, that would be nice in a piece.
That's
And
comfy.
so the next, Sophie. So then, yeah, so that was the piece that came out of that photograph, or her posing or lying there for me,
What is,
allowing me to take a photo.
what does Robert say when you paint on his benches? Is
I
he-
think he's pretty much okay.
Is he?
He's so much more easygoing than I am.
Gotcha. And those figures set on separately, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Because I've seen the sitting up figures, like we're coming to this one.
So, you're just starting with this, Aaron, but
Mhm.
being a parent means taking children to many, many birthday parties. So this was a tea party. The figure on the right is my daughter Sophie, and the figure in the pink jacket is Violet. And I just loved that image, and I did a lot of pieces based on that. And the next one is, yeah.
Fun.
So Robert made the bench. Right next. So when Robert and I went to Thailand like 20 years ago, we were someplace on a boat ride, and this monkey came and just jumped right on his head. And I lost all our photographs from that trip in our fire, but I saw this photograph on Instagram, and I thought, oh, I have to somehow put this in a piece. And so I did this piece. And it's sort of like, that expression, you got a monkey on your back. It's sort of like going through the pandemic and still trying to maintain your balance and feel good when there's a lot of chaos going on around you. And I think that's what I was interested in kind of portraying with this piece.
What I like about this piece a lot too is it captures your attention. There's no way you can miss seeing this work, because it starts to approach you in a normal torso and bust, and then all of a sudden this monkey is dancing up there, and
Right.
it's unmissable, which people comment all the time, that they take a double take at it, because you really have to really drink it in, and you can't not do that. It's wonderful.
Oh, thanks. So this is another picture I saw on Instagram, and I mean, this is a real animal. This is an actual animal. It's like a mermaid. It's like the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I do want to do a photograph of this guy. I started following this person. I guess he just photographs these. I don't know if they're his pets or he raises them, or if they're wild, but so the next piece was kind of inspired by that. This last couple of years, I discovered tiny mosaic tiles, and I've been tiling portions of the pieces just for fun. It's kind of like a meditation, because it takes a really long time, one tile at a time with tweezers and glue.
Yeah, I imagine it's quite laborious.
Yeah.
Doing that.
But it's a kind of cool texture, don't you think?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me. We just saw David Chatz's work at the Renwick, who does extremely high level beading.
Okay.
He sews and beads around everyday objects, and he's invented like 7 techniques himself. And it kind of has that kind of feel of that beading, but it adds the texture of your work.
Yeah, I love beaded people that do beading in their work. So I became friends with the photographer Robin Schwartz. She lives in Hoboken, New Jersey, and she has gotten really well known for taking photographs of her daughter Amelia with various animals. And she put out a book called Amelia and the Animals. And she's a photographer for New York Times Magazine. And she's so generous. I wrote to her and I said, I said, can I do a piece based on your photograph? Because, in a way it's kind of stealing somebody else's idea. But she is so cool. She just, anything, she's really flattered that I love her work so much. So the next piece is something I did based on. Looks a little bit blurry. I apologize for that.
Fun. I love the little fawn legs.
So, Aaron, when you first asked me to do this, you said, well, you should talk about your process. And I didn't know then that we were going to show the clip, but I do, as I explained in the Craft in America clip, I make everything out of beeswax. And these next couple pieces, I've been having so much fun. The theme is tiny ghosts. And the High Fructose magazine asked me to be in the show where the theme is tiny ghosts, which I think is so perfect for me. So I'm doing, I just have, at night, I wake up at like 3 in the morning with all these different ideas. So this is one of them, and this is called, I just put one of my dog's dogs to sleep a couple weeks ago. So this is going to be called On Escorting Rosie to the Heavenly Realm. So
And these are all coming to fruition, right?
they're really rough. I just started though. I'm trying to
Gotcha.
just, it's like ideas. When you get ideas, they're like dreams. And if I don't draw them down or start working on it, the idea will go away. And I'll think, oh, I had a really great idea for something and I didn't do it. And so I've just been kind of throwing them together just so I can get it out there and then work on it, refine
Gotcha.
them later before I make molds of them.
Yeah, I like this totem-esque feeling on the pieces on the right. They kind of really add into the depth of the character without much, distracting from their heads. I look forward to seeing this come together.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if we could just, for those that we love, when they cross over to the other side, if we could just escort them and then, come back to our lives, but know that they're in a better place. I mean, really know it because we've experienced it also.
It's we can speculate that in all day. We can assume it's just a level of peace.
Right. So, Aaron, you said that my children provide a lot of inspiration, and this is just, I came across this photograph while I was looking for images that inspire my sketches, and I thought this definitely shows the level of chaos. I live in chaotica, and that's just like a normal kind of feeling in my house at any given time. That's my studio, that door in the background. That's where I work on my wax sculptures. So
That is the largest cat castle I've ever seen in my life. That's for sure.
it is. Yeah, they love it. They just race up and down, and yeah.
I have one about a quarter of that size, and I thought I was spoiling my cats.
A friend of mine made it for me. So this was they usually can't stand each other, which is so sad for me. But these are my twins, Ellis and Violet, and this was Violet hugging Ellis goodbye. You can see she's hugging him a little bit more enthusiastically than he's hugging her back. And I thought I'd like to do a piece of like children embracing, with affection. And then I was at the YMCA, and this was a poster that I would look at every day that when I was on Stairmaster. And then I thought, I'm just going to take a picture of it, and then I'll have some reference for when I get around to doing that piece. So that's one of the sketches that I have in my sketchbook that it's kind of a literal reproduction of that.
So this is the first of the 19 images we'll be looking at that are
I
part
don't think I have all of them in there.
Oh, you don't? Well, okay. Well, we'll see some of them in here, and the rest of them are on the website, and I have them too. They're on the email I sent out. There's a button that says click here to see them all. But these are the works that Christina's thinking of creating, and would love to be able to create a work via commission for any of you. And it's great that she's able to put these ideas down, and there's no concept really of pricing or scale. We suspect it'd be somewhere between 8 and 24 inches tall, depending on
whatever people wanted.
People wanted. It's the whole idea for it. And she's excited about this, and so am I. So this is the first.
I do always do sketches. So I did that drawing when I took my kids to Skate Town, and I think they were quite little, and one of them, helped me with the drawing. But so I'm always thinking about, I'll see an image like that. I'll draw, either from life or from a photograph. This was from life. The lady was nice enough to stand there, and the baby was surprisingly cooperative. And then since then, I've just done a number of pieces of mothers and children, because it resonates with my experience. And these are just images that I found on Instagram, and I've thought that would be neat to do a sculpture like that. It's tricky with glass because you have to be careful with the weight and little skinny parts that could crack. Sometimes
things change, things get adjusted.
Right.
We had a question asking if you always do sketches, and I think you said yes.
I try to because when I get an idea, it's so elusive that I can remember the feeling or texture of the idea later. But if I don't draw, and then years later, I can look through my old sketch pads and I'll think, oh, I really was excited about that idea. I could still do it. But you could go to the next and see, that's just another.
These are just gobbled from Instagram, right?
Right. They're just, well, because I couldn't find for my actual drawings, I couldn't find the actual images that,
right.
But that was the drawing, and I can't find whatever had inspired me. So
yeah.
Is that idea though? You get the idea.
Mother and child, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife just texted me like 40 pictures of my family's birthday of her holding the kids and whatnot. So it can come from anywhere.
Right. So I also really like old toys, and Robert had to put a limit on what I was buying from eBay because it's not absolutely essential, but they're so old toys. They're so like a perfect combination of really cute and really creepy. And
Yeah, I'll go for the latter. They are pretty creepy.
but anyway, so they inspired me, you know. I guess somebody was selling all of those and I just took the photos off of eBay because I thought, well, they would be so cool to reproduce in glass or make my own version. So I did a little bit of a piece, like a small piece for the international based on this idea, but it wasn't what I'd had in mind. Was something bigger with all the figures being kind of like the same color. I like that. I'm really liking that pale blue. I've wanted that pale blue sky color for years, and I finally figured out how to do it. So I'm just like really grooving on the pale blue color.
Is this like I hope a group of protection?
Yes, yes, like little guardian angels.
Little guardian angels.
It comes out softer in the glass, so it doesn't look as menacing or menacing at all.
Yeah, my baby son Lex has one, we call it a whoopee, that he won't move without.
Yes.
He doesn't have it, it's the end of the world. And my wife reminded me of this.
You know what you need to do? You need to go to Amazon or you need to go to eBay and get like 10 of them.
Right. He's got 7.
Okay. But I mean, just so that you can replace it when one gets lost.
Well, the problem is one is drooled on the most, and that's the one he wants. So
right. So you have to have a backup. Right. So yeah, I pretty much use Bullseye because it seems to be the most forgiving and it's less expensive. I mean, I would love to use gaffer glass, but this just not really affordable for me right now. But that's like another kind of an idea. The idea that we all have like protection or guardian angels, or we're always supported even if we can't really see it. So I had the idea that she would be more like a dense, opaque kind of glass or clay, and then the creatures behind her would be clear.
Her little
kind of suggest, little friends. And so that was a piece that I made based on that idea that's at the international.
Very fun, very fun.
So I always thought it would be really fun to do a piece of a horse, and this is my daughter on the horse that she loved the very most. And then and so I have had the idea for years. I still haven't done any. And then I saw this is kind of like an ancient piece. Maybe it's at the Met. Isn't that just gorgeous? And so that's kind of like my sketch, my idea.
And it looks like it's kind of floating on a stand.
Yeah, like a merry-go-round.
Like a merry-go-round. Beautiful.
But more than a merry-go-round. And so this is my daughter Violet with our cat Peppa.
This is how many years ago or recent?
This is recent. She just turned 16, so this is recent. And then the drawing is kind of like a piece that would be the same sort of idea, but with a child. So this is just a photograph that I saw on Instagram, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I have to someday do a sculpture of that. Like, that's amazing. If that was happening at my house, I would so freak out that neither animal would ever come near me again. But
looks like they're happy together.
Right. So I did a very literal drawing of that because Yeah,
it would be kind of interesting with the mixture of colors. Like, look how the tones change between animals, and they could play around with that with what you do normally.
I love the idea of relationships between species. That's something that lights me up a lot.
Kind of like your spirit direction you're talking about.
Yeah.
More.
And that was another photograph that I just love. I just threw it in there. I don't have a sketch for that, but
you never know. Bet you the cats like the warmth, right?
Yeah, and I guess they're like living warm heated carpets.
Right, exactly. Another one.
Another one. Yeah. I kind of collect photographs like this. I mean, I would love to do a piece kind of based on that idea too. So
you know who would do this in a second? Margit Toth. She's a master of warthogs and hippos and pigs. Get for inspiration from her work. Different style entirely, but beautiful stuff.
And this is a photograph by my friend Robin Schwartz, because she's photographed monkeys a lot. She's involved with a lot of monkey rescue. And so That's my idea, to think that that would be kind of like a cool piece.
With in this particular design, are the arms and legs holding the baby up in the air?
Yes.
Okay. Friends forever. My cat growls on me just like that cat does all the time.
That's neat.
I find if she wants attention, I'm hunched over or leaning forward, I'll have a visitor.
Wow. My cats are trained when they see me come into the room or any of my kids, they're trained to run as fast as they can through the cat door into the basement.
Gotcha.
I really love owls. Whenever I see one, I just feel like it's such an incredible good luck sign. It's like seeing an angel. So I've definitely been toying around with the idea of women or a person just like holding a bird and letting the bird go, kind of like letting your spirit free, letting some part of you just fly off up into the air. I love that.
Gotcha. Very fun. You have some real fun with the wings.
Yeah.
Coloring, especially
Yeah.
off the dress. Freestanding sculpture. That could be a taller one.
Yeah. I have an albino deer that I've been having a relationship with for about 5 years. This is not that one. I don't even think this is a deer. This might be an elk or something. But yeah, there is a female deer and she's an albino, and it's unbelievable that the hunters haven't shot her, because like 3 or 4 times a year I'll see her and it's just unbelievable. And so this is a photograph by Katerina. I just can't think of her last name, but she does beautiful work of people with animals.
Is the antlers curving around her neck?
Yeah, kind of protectively.
I didn't even see that till now.
And the legs are kind of inappropriately long, but
It's just a sketch.
yes. So I like this photographer. He's on, I think he's French, and he's on Instagram. Wouldn't that be a great sculpture? So I did a little drawing of it just in case.
Gotcha. It's just a fun way to get inspiration. Don't travel anywhere, just go online, look at different
Right.
photographers just sharing their talent across the world.
And that's Violet. That was some time ago, picking up a stray dog. And I guess, I don't know, she must have given it a treat. And that's Violet now with our cat Georgina. I just think I love how George looks so crazy.
He doesn't look very happy at that particular moment in time.
No.
His claws aren't out though, so that's a good sign. We're holding the puppy. What's this one about?
That was another photograph from, don't you love that pose? I am unable to do that myself. I cannot do that pose.
With practice. Peter Bremers can show us. He knows that.
Yeah, super flexible. I'm about as flexible as a piece of wood. But I think that would be fun to do a sculpture of, a baby in that pose. So that's my little drawing of it.
Gotcha. So, oh yeah.
That's just something I threw in there for fun.
Yep. So kind of back to the Alice in Wonderland kind of feel to that.
Yeah.
We were talking about those giant rabbits that are in Europe. You told the Belgian rabbits or something?
Oh, the Belgian rabbits. Aren't they amazing?
It's amazing to know that those things exist, the size
like
of
75-pound rabbits.
Yeah, in real life.
You can train rabbits to go to the bathroom in a kitty litter box, but you would need like a kiddie pool or kitty litter for somebody that's like 80 pounds or something.
Yeah,
that's one big rabbit.
Indeed. Well,
that might be everything.
That might be everything. So let me
start. Well, anyway, thanks everybody for looking at, indulging me.
Thank you, Christina, for giving us a glimpse into your, world of the process of creating the drawings, which leads to your creations in real life. So it's a lot of fun to see those and just kind of jump in with the narrative with you and get an idea of what you're creating from. So thank you again. It's great to have you. And if anybody has seen anything or would like to keep the conversation going, this whole idea is new and it has been successful in the past, and you become part of the process as these works come to fruition. And you can put your 2 cents in, 2 cents out, and give Christina the space she needs to create something magical that you'd be part of from the beginning. But if you have any questions, this would be time. I know some people ask some technical things as time has gone by, but it's great to to have. So someone asked about your European exhibition.
Oh, it's in Limoges, which is a few hours outside of Paris. And there was a factory that became famous for making those little blue and white plates, I think, this little porcelain plates. And so now they turned that factory into a museum. And they asked ceramic artists to be in the show. And I don't know how I quite qualify for that, but maybe like 3% of my pieces is ceramic. So, but the nice thing is they paid for everything. It was like $5,000 for the shipping, and I don't have to deal with customs or tariffs or, so that's really fun. I'm going to get to go over there and have a little adventure.
That should be a lot of fun. Take some photos for us. Love to see what else is around.
Hi, Christina. Are your children artistic? And is your daughter going to be a veterinarian?
She wants to be a doctor. She does want to be a doctor, but yeah, I think they've seen how our income has been so, inconsistent that they want something more guaranteed and reliable. So they are artistic, but they don't want to do it for a livelihood, which is a little bit disappointing, but I understand it.
Yeah, my dad was a podiatrist. Didn't want to dive into that either. That's so fun. Well, great. I look forward to getting updates on your little show, the show out there, and take some photos. Love to see when you come back. Okay. And I'm looking forward to your presentation too for the ghosts when those works come together. I know you're working on 3 pieces, and one will come to fruition for that show. But
I have like 10 ideas for it. I want to make all of them.
Oh, good. She's hardworking, I tell you what. So if you see something you like, or do share this video, we're posting it up on YouTube if you like it. And I always say subscribe and share with friends that would care about what we all love and enjoy. So thank you again for joining us, Christina. It was an honor to have you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for coming, tuning in. It means a lot. So nice to see all your faces.
Yes, it's great to see each other again. Hopefully we'll see each other all again real soon. Yeah. If you have any questions, contact me anytime. Other than that, have a great weekend, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
Christina.
you so much. Thank you.
Do another great show.
Thank you, guys. Be well.
Have a great trip to France.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Nice seeing you guys.
Nice seeing you too.
Nice seeing
Take
you
care,
too.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.